morning's essentials,
including the very latest in news, traffic,
weather and sports.
Live on TV and across all our social media platforms. Hashtag UBCGNU.
Hope you'll be setting your alarms, cause we are
Looking forward to see you then.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Tuesday, and definitely we're in the month of August 2021. And of course also that means that this is the 8th month of the 12 months of this 2021. That definitely will also mean that we are fast tracking towards the end of the year. Guess what? It seems just like yesterday when we were starting this whole year, this whole lockdown thing, no celebrations, people were tied up at home. Celebrations were probably on family level, even for those who are able. Now, we went into a time where we got into another lockdown where we're suffering the second wave of COVID-19. We lost quite a number of people. We're still having challenges up till today, but the most important of all is that we're still here. Now, I've always said that human nature will never be definitely and totally extinct. That also means because it has the power and also the rigor to work towards its survival. What are you doing to survive COVID-19? For those of you who are supposed to get vaccinated, I am hoping that you have actually taken a step to go and get vaccinated. And for those of you who are doing other SOPs like wearing masks and of course sanitizing, washing your hands, just to mention but a few, keep doing that because guess what? COVID is real. What else is real is that I have two colleagues with me on set, that is Priscilla and Robert, and I will pick it up with you, Robert. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Felix Nkunda, and of course everybody that has woken up this morning to watch UBC TV, where I give you authentic, meaningful information that spices up your morning and you start your day. However, what is important is a positive mindset. You have so many reasons to smile because you've survived the first, the second wave, the lockdown, and you're still here. So cheer up. Begin your morning with positivity and a mindset ready to conquer the world. And indeed you will.
Well, of course, speaking about conquering, I hope I do conquer the thoughts of Nalwoga Priscilla by saying good morning.
Waiting for the conquering to happen.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, Felix Nkunda. And you did mention the word nature. It reminded me that blessed is Uganda with the nature that we have. No wonder we are called the Pearl of Africa. We have lots of land in plenty. We have water in plenty, we have animals in plenty, we have food in plenty, we have sunshine in plenty, we have rainfall in plenty. We are just a bountiful country. No wonder we wake up by saying good morning Uganda. So to you, my fellow Ugandan, welcome to a brand new day. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga. Delighted to have you with us.
Now, speaking about saying good morning Uganda, I don't know how many languages in this country, Robert and Priscilla, you're able to speak away from just your mother dialect. Robert.
About fluently English, Luganda, then some bit of Swahili, some
because
bit
guess
of
what the language you say, you're going to say good morning Uganda in those languages. So before you attempt to...
Why would I say that? Well, I may not perfect that, but at least I'll tell you about it.
Habari. And like, how would you say the word good morning in Uganda?
First, forget that.
Okay. Priscilla?
I think it would be Habari Uganda, right?
Uganda?
One of the things is missing a language.
That's true.
So we can speak the Comrade Kiswahili, the Comrade Runyankole, but when a typical person who knows the language watches, I don't want to make any mistake there. But for comradeship, there I can, yes, I can, at least I can starve.
Well, clearly that's something that we must interest ourselves in and as a country, but also that is one of the things you can share with us probably on one of our social media platforms and also on our Facebook page, YouTube, and also Twitter. But also we have a WhatsApp number. You can tell us how many languages are you able to speak that are probably domestic. Isn't that a challenge? You can imagine you could be able to speak more foreign languages than actually local languages. I've had people here who can speak English, okay, French. Wow.
It's not
and
your
Spanish
mother tongue.
and German and all these things. You can, that's now the dire effect of
You
language.
see, the problem is when we were in school, it's a vernacular thing. Now that also is a problem, that even where you would interact, you're coming from different parts of this country, so you learn some Luganda, the Banyankole speaking there, the people from maybe Far East, Lushoga. It was a taboo. So you all had to concentrate on perfecting the art of
Now
English.
you're reaping the consequences
Now
of
you're
that.
here, you say, but you come from Uganda, how many tribes you have? Over 60 something. Okay, how many languages do you know?
0.
Well, people speak English even through the nose and they are so perfect. In their mother tongue, and coco, and like, hey, what happened? So that's some of the things that
So who's to blame for this, Robert? Should it be the parents or actually the schools?
both share the blame, because parents, I know of a family where the mother speaks English entirely. The child goes out to play and the mingle people are speaking Luganda. The father speaks, that they are from the north. The father speaks Rugban. And the kids have adopted 3 languages. They assume right from infantry that maybe mother only knows English. And she has mastered and perfected that. Their dad will never speak to them in any other language apart from the language, his mother tongue, which is Rugba, something like that. Then when they go to play, because of the environment where they are, automatically they speak Luganda. So these kids speak 3 languages. So much as I would push at school, but even the parents have something they can really do. I know of a family, the children have grown up in, I think it's Belgium, but the children speak Luganda when they come to visit, each and every word, because the parents chose to speak Luganda at home. So,
well,
yes.
Uganda it is. I don't know how many of you are proud of how your kids speak your mother tongue, and probably that also makes it their mother tongue. Something you probably should work on as a country, because it's the only trade that we can give, which is culture. And again, that has caused emphasis that it also gives true definition. As Robert said, one time at one function, in fact it was a celebrity function, socialite function, where someone was greeting the sisters, and we even said that some time ago. And they said, well, but I'm and I'm thinking, and she was very happy, you can imagine. So avoiding all these embarrassments, time and again, please let us teach our kids the most values of our cultures, because that's the true definition of who they will be. What else do you want to give you out on top of all this is probably what also happened. Probably those are the true values of what we meant to do here at UBC Good Morning Uganda. We'll share with you the stories as they happened for the last 24 hours, and we'll also be looking at international stories.
Well, we begin with security forces reacting to the president's speech on Saturday, where he warned them against acts of torture. That is, security forces have spoken, responding to the presidential address on human rights violation. UPDF has committed to relent its strong hand approach towards the public, with strong warning over confronting armed forces. Over the weekend, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni publicly rebuked the country's security forces for using excessive force against citizens. In response, the forces admitted mishandling the public. The Ugandan Post Defense Forces have committed to soften their approach towards the public. However, UPDF have warned the public over confronting armed soldiers while on duty, which may warrant force. In the move to strengthen the country's internal security and peace enhancement, UPDF will recruit 10,000 local defense unit persons, that is LDUs. In the course of last week, Uganda police recovered 73 major incidents from 22 regional operations. 52 lives were lost, where 29 murder cases following domestic violence and mob justice were also recorded.
Uganda People's Defense Forces has refuted reports of attempted mutiny within soldiers currently deployed at a peacekeeping mission in Equatorial Guinea. Speaking at a weekly press briefing held at police headquarters in Naguru, UPDF Deputy Spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Ronald Kakurungu said that mutiny is impossible with the UPDF ranks owing to its command and structure as a professional body. In this report, UPDF Land Force Commander Lieutenant General Mhozi Kainerugaba has dispatched a team of investigators to Equatorial Guinea to establish the alleged reports from UPDF soldiers deployed implicating the contingent commander Colonel James Kato. UPDF soldiers were first deployed in Equatorial Guinea in 2017 under a peacekeeping mission, and the forces were mandated to undertake mentoring Guinea military forces along with other assignments including security of the country's president, first family and other key installations. At the moment, UMTV troops are deployed in 3 sectors of Bata, which is the task force headquarters, Malabo and Mongomo.
Away from security forces, we now look at the successful stories of Emyoga Fund, where members of Kampala Central Emyoga Beneficiary Circle have held government for introducing Emyoga Seed Fund. The circle is among the successful associations which were contained in the last presidential address as one of the key beneficiaries of the 30 million package. Ever since Deputy Speaker of Parliament Anita Amongi sent MPs for a 2-week assessment of the progress of the Emyoga Fund, many beneficiaries are crying foul. During the recent address by President Yoweri Museveni, the project had registered success. Among the successful beneficiaries in Kampala is Kampala Central Emyoga Beneficiaries Circle, which is the largest membership, is drawn from people with disabilities in Kampala. With over 150 members, 10 associations and a seed capital of 30 million given to the cooperative, 4 months ago, members have registered success. The circle chairperson, Zawede Harriet, attributed the success to teamwork. The association is now supplementing its savings with commercial book making. Members of Parliament equally hail government for the project, but attribute its limited impact on bad timing. Government will consider other left-out categories on the Emyoga program like bricklayers in time to come.
Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiques has failed to account for 14 billion shillings allocated in the last financial year using Uganda Airlines trademarks of Fly Uganda. The Trade Committee, chaired by Mbara Municipality South MP Mwine Mpaka, established that the whole intention was to market Uganda as a tourist destination using Uganda Airlines colors, the crane and the logo Fly Uganda. The Ministry of Tourism through Uganda Wildlife Education Center still wants 44 billion to establish regional zoos across the country. The Ministry of Trade, Tourism and Antiques is under spotlight following an audit query conducted by the Auditor General into the expenditure of 14 billion shillings that was allocated to the ministry using Uganda Airlines. However, the Auditor's General Report 2020-2021 reveals shocking details pointing to absence of accountability to the allocated funds. Appearing before the Trade Committee of Parliament, the terms of reference given to the Ministry of Tourism at the time the 10th Parliament approved the 14 billion shillings were clear. 1, to use the colors of the Uganda flag, the crested crane, the logo reflected on all Ugandan airline crafts. Fly the crane, Fly Uganda, to market Uganda's tourism potential, but this was not done. The report also reveals that a lot of fundraisings were done for this cause. The big question during the cross-examination of officers from the tourism ministry was, where is the money? Where is the money?
Priscilla, you see, in Uganda, there is a ghost we are yet to identify.
The ghost is called who?
The Auditor General's report many of the times indicates missing monies. But where they are, that ghost. Either we have to pray or evoke experts in capturing. You know, in the village, there are those who they bring. When spirits are disturbing people, they come and they capture, wrap it up, then send it somewhere.
When you backtrack to where this story also originates from, the leadership that was, put on leave, we had the Minister of Transport and Works saying that they are on leave, they've done nothing, and now many months down later, they're more or less offenders of the criminal charges.
But that is just a drop in the ocean.
Were they covering up, and why would the minister cover up for them? So it smells like a long chain of
but we are getting used to it.
No, we're not getting used to it. It is the Uganda we live in. Corruption is everywhere. A barking dog seldom bites. Anyway, away from that, we get to look at the international stories today.
Now we'll start with Biden coming out to make defense on the pullout of its major armies from Afghanistan. Now President Joe Biden has said he stands squarely behind the U.S. exit from Afghanistan as he faces withering criticism over the Taliban's lightning conquest over the war-torn country. How many more lives of Americans is it worth? He asked the Democratic president. Now he said despite the messy pullout, there was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces. On Sunday, the Taliban declared victory over the Afghan president Ashraf Ghani, who fled and his government collapsed. Now the militants return to rule, and return to rule brings an end to the almost 20-year U.S.-led coalition presence in the country, and Kabul was the last major city in Afghanistan to fall to a Taliban offensive that began months ago. But of course also it made acceleration to the most recent days, and they gained control over territories, shocking many observers. Joe Biden returned on Monday to the White House from the Camp David presidential retreat to make his first public remarks on Afghanistan nearly a week. If anything, the developments of the past weeks reinforce the ending U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan now was the right decision, said the president. We're now still looking at Afghanistan. UN Security Council comes out to call for talks to form new Afghan government. The UN United Security Council is calling for talks to create a new government in Afghanistan and an end to fighting and abuse after UN Chief Antonio Guterres warned chilling Taliban curbs human rights and mounting violence against women and girls. The 15-member council issued a statement on Monday, agreed by the consensus after Guterres appealed to the body to use all tools at its disposal to suppress the global terrorism threat, Afghanistan, and guarantee respect for human rights. We cannot and must not abandon the people of Afghanistan, Guterres told the Security Council. Now lastly, crossing back to Africa, we will be looking at Congo, where we see the DR Congo accepts U.S. military help against ADF militia. Now Congo President Felix Nkunda has authorized U.S. special forces to help the Congolese army battle the allied democratic forces there, an armed group linked to ISIL. The ADF, which the United States has deemed terrorist group, and of course also considered the deadliest of the dozens of armed militias that roam the mineral-rich Eastern Democratic Republic. And of course also the Catholic Church in the country says the ADF has killed about 6,000 civilians since 2013, while respected US-based monitors also came out to say that the same has been happening to the people in Kivu. President Tshisekedi authorized the deployment of American anti-terrorism experts in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and said from the presidency that this will help in reducing the most recent insurgencies, sporadic attacks, and deaths of the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Well, we will also add to that we pray that peace is restored in places like Afghanistan. We pray that the lives of the people there, again, is also valued. But rather, what else we ask you to value is making comment and also following our program here, of course, on our social media platforms on Facebook. You can catch us live from YouTube, also make comment on Twitter. And do not forget to make a comment on our poll question today, which is going to be appearing on your screen shortly. We'll also be able to give us your comment about that and use our WhatsApp number as well. Robert, just lastly, before we get done with this particular segment, today is Tuesday. Normally, when people say that from Monday, as long as Monday is done, the week is done. How true is that?
Not so. I don't believe in that, because you still have other days, and sometimes this has been a problem we've had. On Fridays, you go to some office and people are like, it's weekend. You know, we are in the weekend mood. They either come late for work because they'll tell you it's a Friday anyway. So let the week be done when it's done, and you're sure what you're supposed to do in your working hours is completely done. This weekendish mood, week is done, we assume, hey, if, for example, God forbid, if you die today, would we say he died at the end of the week or passed on at the end of the week? No.
Anyway, Robert doesn't believe in that, but what else do we believe in is also inspiring you this morning by giving you a song for the day. But when we come back, Robert, myself, and Priscilla will be taking you through our newsreel, which we believe will definitely give an insight into a matter of importance of this beautiful country. Let's take a break.
blood cells will need strength to battle and conquer whatever would have attacked you. And now one of the drinks that are natural are Hallelujah products. That is Hallelujah turmeric drink and Hallelujah ginger tea drink. So ensure that you buy yourself these drinks because they are natural and they have ingredients that have been compacted together to benefit and aid your body in fighting a number of diseases that may attack it. Well, we know that one of the things that any civilized society has is a parliament that helps in terms of legislation. Now, our parliament, that is the 11th parliament, has been on recess, but they are to resume business today. However, we have a parliament of 500 and about 29 members of parliament, and this time around, we are only going to have 100 per session. Some members of parliament have okayed this. Others are saying no, the people's representatives, when debates are being carried on, cannot be locked out. But there's also been an argument that recently government spent about 2 billion buying iPads for these members of parliament, which also government pays data. They don't have to buy MBs or whatever it is. So they can still follow proceedings wherever they are. They shouldn't be physically present. Others have also argued that no, we got vaccinated. Remember when we were rolling out the vaccination exercise, parliamentarians were one of the priorities. Remember the drive at parliament. So if you are fully vaccinated, then why shouldn't we attend? Why shouldn't we be part of this plenary and be able to debate as and to when we feel it is necessary? I and Felix are going to be discussing that is the relevance of parliament in ensuring they reconstruct the economy amidst COVID-19. And this is one of the things we think that they are craving to be present and participate and move forward. Felix, I know one of the things you always say is you don't believe in representation, it is falsification. Let's begin with that.
Yeah, it's a matter of fact for me. I find that this whole hullabaloo of representation is a myth. Yeah, for example, and I've always asked you, after saying that, I've always asked you, do you ever feel represented?
By my MP?
Doesn't matter. Whoever. You can tell me any person. Do you ever feel represented?
Sometimes my area councillor at the division level, I feel a bit of it.
That's the thing. So now that you're talking about parliament, let's talk about parliament. Do you ever feel represented?
No.
Why?
Sometimes I wonder the decisions they make, who do they consult?
So what's the relevance of the institution that is trying to beacon the noise of representation? And the other question then would be, what is representation in the sense of parliamentary sitting? Is it appearance on plenary? Is it being on fact of the Hansards? Or is it being roaming around the corridors of parliament? That is also the question.
But if you can miss out on signing attendance, these allowances, that is also another issue.
Now that is that's not representation.
Maybe that is what they're craving for.
No, that is not representation now. That is personal interest. I want us to start from the top of this discussion is, what is the role of parliament? And we can look at academic angles and also look at the legal ties. One, primarily parliament is bestowed with the powers to legislate. The aftermath of that could be sharing opinions in terms of national building. A third to that would then be budgetary allocations. And on top of that, we could put many. Probably most recent, you can put also chattering or becoming noise, what? Because everyone now uses parliament.
Accountability. They have various committees where they...
You see, there are two things in terms of political, things we teach, we learn in political science. It's what they call the ought and the is. You understand? They ought to help in accountability, but what is the fact?
Now you're saying there's a task force on COVID-19
That's rubbish.
Abdul Kantuntu that came up with a report and recommendations.
Rubbish,
we have the Deputy Speaker sent a committee on a Myoga fund, and they were able to at least unearth the nonsense.
What is accountability, Robert?
In Amolata? Holding people, you see.
Holding people accountable. Is it good enough for lip service?
Would we blame that if they have blown the trumpet and discovered and unearthed and the follow-up is not done.
How good? What good does it do to unearth? That's what you're saying. So how important is it? It's useless. That's not the purpose of kutema someone. Namutemye uli wali. Namutemye naduka. So parliament is namutemye naduka. Nawadde mukutte. Namuyuzize saati. That's what you're saying. That's not accountability. If you're talking about accountability, it must have a conclusion. It must have an end in it. And that's how the institution will acquire that deterrent aspect, that people should be on their toes. To the park, oh my God. Yes. But you've heard, you remember you remember the sack of Bank of Uganda? The people even had the courage to tell them, even these ones will end. And they actually ended.
Felix, we once had these things. I remember the initial days of park. It was horrible if someone was going to that committee.
No, there was nothing.
But of late, it seems...
So the reason why we bring out all these examples, just to show you that, you see, politicians, and politicians, I can't even blame them. They are simply being politicians. For them, they are politicians. They are doing their game, that they are politicking. We have to be at parliament, we are vaccinated, we are what, because they have an interest.
Don't you think anyway this could affect their ability to deliver? In any way, not being present?
To deliver what? What do members of parliament deliver?
Calls for accountability, pass meaningful regulations in terms of good governance.
And that's why for me, I really don't want to dwell on this whole thing of 100 members. I would want to think, to look at the broader picture of the topic that you did give of the role of parliament in reconstructing a broken country for 2 years. And that's where we should have a discussion of pain in relation to why they should be attending at full capacity or not. If the reasons they are giving do not fit into the featured need to reconstruct a torn economy, you know, an economy where schools have been shut for 2 years, an economy where people cannot work, some institutions have not been working. If their need, if their desire, if their craving to be at parliament does not directly fit into the need to reconstruct a torn economy, it is as good as useless, even if they stay at home for the 5 years and they don't go to parliament. We don't care. If their arguments that they are giving, Robert, and I'm serious, do not fit into the need to reconstruct a torn economy, what's the use? Between you and me, Robert, what's the use?
Definitely not.
Today, we are having a country where by far, at least 80%, let's start with the business community, are almost closing out. And guess what? The reasons is because they cannot access customers like they used to. Customers don't have the purchasing power like they used to. Customers have lost jobs. Customers have moved since then. People, how many people have gone back to villages? Look at the plight of teachers today. They have become bricklayers. After how many years of experience, they have carried the experience in bricklaying, chapati, kabaragala. That is the kind of country we are looking at. We are looking at a country where people's businesses have been closed. Look at the bars. Look at some hospitality institutions.
Even if you go to downtown, a number of arcades, still up to 50, have not yet been opened.
We're looking at,
get their bread.
Look at the tax today. People are telling you that today now they are measuring in kilos, all these things. If the discussions, your so-called members of parliament, what you want to call your representatives, is not directly in effect to cause relevant change, to give an uplift to this dire situation, what is the use of their sitting? To be very honest, Robert, let's stop. You see, let's leave this whole stereotype. We must have a parliament. We must have a what? Let's be honest.
Let's look at interventions where we believe Parliament has been part of it. Recently, we saw about a stimulus package being passed. We've seen sometimes members of Parliament have come up with a few task forces, to mention but a few. We've seen Parliament at least trying to
stimulate what?
For the SMEs, you see. Yeah, to ensure that at least
working?
They can get monies and I believe Parliament to some extent has...
I've not said it doesn't have, but I've told you.
But then the question is, how best then should Parliament ensure that they do not end at the passing bit of it? Because we have good laws, we have good policies, but then the implementation
But they can't, you see, up till today they cannot ensure that because they have already made many mistakes. They have made many mistakes, and between you and me, we have discussed these things since the Parliament. This guy is sworn. Look at the expenses of Parliament since they sworn up till today, and it's not even a year. Vis-a-vis the economy. Are they contributing or sucking out of the economy? Every sitting, how much do we spend on them? I don't know if you get these things. Because, and I'm not saying that the money that's spent on members of Parliament is the one that is supposed to rejuvenate the economy, but it's a contributor.
But so
it's a contributor.
Are we having value for money in terms of
the Parliament is a constitutional institution that must be in place. Just like the judiciary, just like the executive, by law, like it or not. However, it is not good enough to be an existing institution by law without value. It is just like as you wake up and say that the law says we must have the judiciary, but then you take a utesi. Let's just put
then why would you cast
this constitutional mandate? The purpose of those who crafted the Constitution sought for value out of these institutions.
Yes, and various
it is not enough, by the way, just to say representation, Robert. That's why I always ask you, do you feel represented? But then it will bring us back to the aspect of constitutional institutions must also fight to have value. They shouldn't be just routine bodies, routine.
Felix, then who do we blame? Because the framers of the Constitution had a right
I don't want to blame. I don't want to use the word blame.
Okay, where do we
responsibility?
Responsibility.
One, I'll tell you this. The Constitution, the constitutionalism in this country has done its role. Even the framers, the litigants, the courts, there's much jurisprudence around that. But there are other beacons or other towers or other strongholds of the constitutionalism, that it is not enough for you to say, I am a body, like judiciary. But there are other, for example, you talked about accountability, transparency. Today you've done a story about money that is, I think, was it Myoga?
Myoga, yes.
Yes. Let's be honest.
Actually, that
this
is
money
our
was
topic.
passed
That is
by
our
where?
topic in Good Morning Uganda agenda. Do not miss where we expect the Honorable Minister of State in charge of that docket who will be with us here on set, and we will be discussing more regarding Myoga. So, for those that have not received the money, for those with sad stories, for those with success stories, it's just a few minutes from now. By 8, we expect the Minister to be with us on set, and he will be answering to a number of your questions.
Even away from him answering all those questions and whatever, one thing, Robert, we must think that, and as I was saying, that it is not just enough for Parliament to be a constitutional body set up by law, an act of, it must be, on top of that, it is only made with, it makes value of itself if it appreciates these other fundamental principles of governance, good governance. Today we've been talking about, the President came and talked about human rights. Should he be the one
we have a committee of
to put
Parliament
this on
that is
spotlight?
handling this?
Now you're telling me that they do budgetary allocations. They added money to police and these institutions to go and victimize Ugandans, to cane them. Should it be the President to come and make alarm? It is not good enough to talk about Parliament, constitution. So what? Even human rights are constitutional. Go and read chapter 4 of the Constitution. And all of it talks about human rights. So when we see members of Parliament craving that we want to be in Parliament, can you make sense out of just being present? I don't know if you get the point, Robert.
I get the point.
Many Ugandans, and I can tell you, 99% of Ugandans don't feel represented in this country.
Felix, finally, we have to end this in the interest of time, but I want to ask you this question. From your honest opinion, do you think we need the entire parliament to be present, away from looking at what you've talked about? Is it possible?
You want to bring me problems.
No, is it possible? Let's be very honest. Is it possible for parliament to be relevant at such a time, even when many of them, you have 500 and maybe 29 members of parliament, and 100 are attending a certain session, which could be discussing something very important on a day?
First and foremost, I don't think the 500 and so members of parliament, even in the whole 5 years, all of them have any contribution. We have members of parliament, and I've said time and again, in their 5 years of tenure, they have never even coughed in parliament.
They'll take me to the Procol report. Well,
after 5 years, someone has not even said yawning like in parliament. It is not on record.
Yeah, even David Procol has an institution that comes up with a report and indicates those that even never yawn.
But between you and me, there's a member of parliament maybe who misses these allowances. So the question is, and that's why we're asking last time, when you see these petitions flying out in and uncovered, spending money on petitions, political, whose justice are we seeking? That's why the question is that you cannot talk about representation as a norm of democracy. It's totally not true. Don't be lied. So whether they are 2, whether they are 3, whether it is 1 or none, the things that must be done over time have been done. If Parliament has true cause on why it wants 100 members of Parliament, what's wrong? His Excellency has said that institutions in this country should operate at 20%. What's the difference with Parliament? They're talking about being immunized. You see, that's why we say that the law is a horse. They said that they're the ones who wanted to first be immunized. I don't know if all of them have been given the vaccine. I don't know how true it is. But now, if that was the purpose that they should be attending, now it is working against them. Because many of them probably have fallen sick over time.
Yes.
You know? Now, the bigger question, Robert, for me, is that with this minimal representation, do we get more value?
Or do we get less value?
Or do we get less value? With or without the entire plenary team sitting, have we gotten value? So we are left in a place where we may say we don't care whether you sit 1 or 2, because at the end of the day, even when you sit 1 million, what have...
Well, these are words from a potential voter in some constituency.
Potential or voter?
Okay, a voter.
My friend.
I hope
Kirabo.
you did.
You're asking me, do I
ask your voter?
Yes, I had to.
These are words from a voter from a certain constituency. Our dear members of parliament, please, this is what the people that undergo the sunshine, the rainfall, to cast their vote, these are some of their opinions. It's time we create relevancy in the way we handle our works at parliament. That when such times come, the public is craving to have your participation at that time. But of course, we also have some messages here, Felix, that are coming in from people that are watching. This is, I'm David Odral. I wish your echo can be heard to them who pretend that they are working for Ugandans when they are just building empires in their bellies with 27 million per month. Oh, this is not different.
I think it's even more than that. It's more than that.
Okay, then we have, this is good morning, Felix, Priscilla, and Robert. I'm Cricket Derek Gagamel from Mutiny. Sincerely speaking, I can only speak English and Luganda, and I believe this is part of the school curriculum intended to ensure they only promote other languages but not our mother tongue. Well, please keep your messages coming in on our WhatsApp number that is on your screen, and we'll be reading them out. We want to have a feedback from you, and of course, our viewers and the concerned authorities. Really, these messages matter when they hear the opinions of the ordinary person watching this program. When we return, we'll be looking at what is trending in the print media. Good morning.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Ginger Tea drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Therefore, understanding this model. Hey, excuse me, lady. Who do you think you are? A queen?
Hey, haven't you heard? Get Airtel Chillax bundles and browse like a queen.
Get Airtel Chillax bundles that do not expire and browse like a queen or king. Dial *175# or use My Airtel app.
Airtel, the smartphone network. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, it's all about starting your morning in style, and we do this by ensuring it's not all about the light jokes that spice up the morning, but also real informative discussions in this program. So make it a date with us every weekday from 6:30 till the hour of 9. Just reminding you, by 8 we'll be hosting, that is the Minister of State, that is the Honorable, who will be taking us through the Myoga Fund. So please ensure you do not mess with your remote, because there's so much that you need to know about these funds that are meant to alleviate poverty in this country. It's time we look at some of the stories in the dailies, and I have the new vision. Felix has the Daily Monitor. Big headline: recruitment of 5,600 parish chiefs starts. The parish development model and the parish chiefs are very vital here. So the recruitment has started, but also Uganda People's Defence Forces, that is UPDF, to recruit 10,000 local defense unit personnel. That is next month. Those are LDUs, ensuring that there is peace throughout the country. Then vaccinate students aged 18 and above. That is the First Lady. Ensure we vaccinate them, because it's one of the requirements that we need as a country for opening schools. Then what is happening in Afghanistan? Kabul aftermath, where there is a picture there. Oh Lord, blessed is motherland Uganda for the peace. Where we see people climb on a plane at Kabul airport in Afghanistan yesterday. Thousands of people mobbed the city's airport, trying to flee the country after the Taliban took over. Now, sitting on top of a plane. Desperation. Still in the new vision, study with us, that is Senior 6, Chemistry, Mathematics plus Senior 1, Biology. Still the new vision brings you a story on our topic in Good Morning Uganda agenda, that is Kabanda finds 10 billion Myoga Fund on ministry account. So much coming in, and still Kirabo named African Company of the Year. But let's also take a glimpse of what is in the Daily Monitor with Felix Nkunda.
Daily Monitor: Ugandans killed in South Sudan ambush. Well, of course, thousands of Christians from Ajumani, Moyo and Amoro district have traveled to the neighboring country for the lower parish centenary celebrations, when people were shot at by yet to be identified gunmen. Wow. Very sad. Now, tragedy: Senior 1 student drowns at river Nyamwamba, bursts its banks again. Now, government announces new polio outbreak and police crash 3 city criminal gangs, and UNEP to release S6 results on Friday. Also, coping with COVID, lifting lockdown, not enough for the economy. And of course, the lizard comes out to say there must be world cheers somewhere. Anti-pornography law invalid, court says. Inside the papers, Museveni, the president, on Saturday warned security institutions and forces against attempting to gather information through torture. But also, Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, on Saturday fled the country, effectively ceding power to the Taliban. From the Yakaives, we see Kabaka of Uganda, that is Edward Mutesa, swearing in as president. That was in 1963 at the steps there of parliament. And today in history, Kadechezi dies in plane crash. And also Dakota uprising begins in Minnesota.
In the new vision, still they bring you the Uganda tracker on COVID-19. New confirmed cases 137. We look at positivity rate rolling down, at least now. That is at 4.1%. Yes, it was at 5 something. And we have new death 11. That is a good thing. Total deaths so far, 2,893 persons have succumbed to COVID-19 in Uganda. So please perfect the soaps and do not be part of these statistics. Symptoms: if you have a fever, you have a cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, and headache, seek medical attention. The earlier, the better, and high chances of surviving COVID-19. Looking at facts or myth in the new vision, how can I know if I have COVID-19? The experts will be answering. And month of twins, what happens if twin rituals are not performed? A question for Felix later on. Still in today, we look at the archives where Health Ministry declares Ebola in outbreak in the country, and that was in Chibale district. Still on the same day, 17th, but the year 1945, Indonesia declares independence. Yes, Nkunda.
Now crossing to sports, a silverback off to Kigali finally. In a video yesterday where we saw cash being given to one of my colleagues, Nasa, the president of FUBA there. And Eagles paint Entebbe red, cases, that is Express, Mukwano Gwabanji, Moto, Team ya Ssaabasajja Kabaka. We must say you guys did us proud, and we're so excited. Thank you so much for the good work, guys. And let's keep the beacon up there. Now, USPA, Fitz Cheptengei there, and also Juliet Narukenge, striker nears, that is Cyprus, which Crested Crane Star, close to joining Cypriot UEFA Women's Champions League. And of course, promotion honors in FUFA Big League climax there. We see Madondo and Umoni. Now, Bayern next up for Haaland in German Super Cup, and Defiant egging Fidel faces another surgery.
In the new vision sport inside, they bring you Uganda under 20 athletes in Nairobi. Then Cheptegei is not about to stop winning. That is Joshua Cheptegei, Uganda's golden boy. Still go out and conquer. Felix, I just talked about the cash handed. But also we see express victory where the minister and of course that is the chairperson of the team receive the trophy. But these and more, don't forget, Ruben will be here to give you all the updates in the world of sports.
Well, also speaking about papers now, we'll give you a sneak peek of what's happening in other tabloids. That is the Daily Nation, where we see Alliance owns internal analysis has put Kalonzo and Mudavadi ahead for the peak. Now, 2022 Raila factors split. Also, OKA chiefs there, they give you part of some of the factions that are being developed ahead of the election in Kenya next year. Well, we keep our hands together and our knees on the ground to pray for our sister country in the forthcoming election. But what else is coming on is traffic. Good morning, Priscilla.
Felix, once again. Now, speaking of traffic, we have fuel prices that have skyrocketed. A litre of petrol now at 4,270, which is really rather high. It has increased by a whole 400 to 500 shillings. And then you do have your diesel coming through at 3,700 on the lower end, but 3,800 and 3,900 on the upper end. Now, that means that we need to start saving up on fuel. Yet, we still have to be on the road. It's not optional to go to work. It's not optional to go for open up your business. It's really not optional to go without using fuel. So we do have some tips here for you that you can actually use to be able to reduce on the consumption of your fuel, but also ensure that efficiently you are moving on the road through the traffic. And one of those tips is to keep your vehicle's engine in a good condition. A well-tuned up engine allows you to actually travel 1 mile further than before. So if you can have your engine serviced, it will go a long way in managing your fuel consumptions. The other tip that we give you is to maintain a proper air pressure in your tires. Now, yes, there's a relationship between the air pressure in your tires and also how the fuel is consumed. The heavier they are, the more you're going to consume a lot of fuel, simply because there should be a balance between the weight that is going to be used of the car. If it's a cargo car and it needs to have more pressure, then obviously it may have to use more fuel. So when you balance out the air pressure in your tires, you will be able to save on a litre or less. You also can try out, the faster you travel, the greater your fuel consumption is. I think we have experienced that. The moment you keep doing that acceleration thing, that means that you are inviting fuel to get through the pipeline and get into the engine, which means that you're sending more fuel in, and that causes a lot of fuel loss on your end. You can also try to just speed up gradually. Every time you are interfacing with a traffic light or a stop sign, or you've been stopped by an officer of traffic, and then when you've been given the liberty to go, you can actually just take it gradually, build it up, not just a one-time acceleration. Also, try to drive smoothly and not allow your engine to be idle at any one moment, and that way you can actually apply the neutral brake, the neutral gear, that will be able to save you up on some fuel losses in there. But also the air condition, it consumes a lot of fuel, so please use it fairly, but also you need to use it sparingly so that you don't waste a lot of fuel on the road. When you observe those, they're definitely going to help you save up on fuel. But the neutral gear is the best recommendation from me, and the air conditioning is the best that we can adopt here on the roads in Uganda. Away from that, we get to look at what the traffic looks like this morning, picking it up from the areas of Salama, Munyonyo. We want to see how the traffic is actually building up, getting into the heart of the city. Right from the lakeside of Lake Victoria, you do have Wavamuno, and Wavamuno Road actually does have an intersection roundabout here that connects to the southern bypass or the express, Entebbe Express Highway, in that direction. But in the area of Munyonyo, you do have Lukuli Road that ends up in Machindye, but you also do have Salama, and you do have Gaba Road that ends up in Nsambya, Kabaragala. So we're going to take the main route and see how the traffic is actually flowing from Salama onto Gaba Road, where you do have Fusion Auto Spa. You don't have much traffic, much as these are residential areas. We don't see much traffic coming through for people getting into the heart of the city through Gaba Road. You come into Bunga, where you do have Bunga Market. You also don't see any major traffic jam there, most especially the fact that this is a high-end residential, so even commuter taxis are a rare thing to have in this particular area code. But for Bunga into the rest of the road, you get to see that you do have the Soya Trading Center, which is expected to be having jam building up there. And yes, we do have an orange zone of traffic that is coming in from these residential areas on Soya State, trying to connect to that route. We follow it and get into the area of International University of East Africa, which brings in Soweto Road. Soweto Road does connect you back to the Kuri Road, and so that connection there also usually brings in traffic jam because of the intersection here, and the T section will always have some jam at one moment in time of the day. Getting into Kansanga, we get to see that on Gaba Road, there's just only a few spots, and probably those are actually commuter taxi stop areas where you do have them having some little bit of orange zones, but the rest of the route on Gaba Road is clear as of this morning. Having a sneak peek into the trading center in Kabalagala this morning, you do have some traffic. Of course, you've come in from Gaba Road, you do have some traffic that is going to that side. You do have traffic coming in from Zambia Estate Road, and that shows you that some people are trying to actually access either Gaba Road and maybe use the shortcut through Green Hill Chiburi to be able to connect to Mukwano roundabout to avoid the cumbersome traffic that is in the Zambia traffic lights, which are not functioning right now because of the Kampala flyover. So when you look at this particular trade route, you get to see also some traffic that is coming in from Bukasa, coming in from Muyenga is what the orange zone here is representing, trying to interface with the trading center there and be able to maneuver their way to the next destination. Sticking to Gaba Road, we get to see the rest of Gaba Road actually being a clear route up until you do have some orange zones that are building up here. Obviously here there are commuter taxis that are picking up people to get them into the likes of Gaba, Bunga, Kansanga, and then you do have an orange zone here. Used this route recently, and there's a bit of construction that is also happening on that route, and that explains the red zone that you are seeing. So it's not that there's so many vehicles, but because of the interruption of the construction works going on there, that is why you're seeing that. You also do have Gaba Road around the embassy for the USA. On the side heading traffic into town, it's a clear route. Traffic away from town is where you're having a few spots of traffic jam building up. And interesting, the red zone appears yet again. Now we do have this Zambia Estate Road that brings in traffic and pours it on Zambia Road, and that is showing you the traffic is actually on the opposite side for vehicles that are coming in from Zambia and trying to access the Zambia Estate Road is where you do have some jam. Then it interswitches at where you do have St. Francis in Zambia Hospital. That is where the traffic interswitches to be able to build up into Zambia Road. You also see a red zone of traffic that is coming in from Zambia Sharing, and this is where you do have Zambia Sharing. This is a residential area equally, and this is the backside of Chibuye, and so people are trying to access that road, get onto Zambia and be able to access either get into downtown Kampala or through Mukwano Road to get to Ginger Road. But when you get a reflection of what is happening downtown Kampala, where you do have the works on the Kampala flyover happening, red zones stretching all the way from traffic that is coming in from Chibuye, Ndeva, that's Masaka Road. You do have it interfacing here and causing a lot of jam, but also there's diversionary routes that keep changing every single day because of the construction works getting heavier on the route. A sneak peek into Nakasero, you get to see the red zones. Well, majorly we do have taxis being back on the road, affecting the flow of traffic. Arcades are getting opened up slowly and slowly, so that is increasing the level of traffic that we see in downtown Kampala, and that is around ShopRite. You get to see Benchuanuka, Chiembe Lane. All these are spots that actually take in taxis, but then you don't have so many outlets, so all this traffic is just getting into the business area of downtown Kampala. So be mindful of those routes as you get into the start of your day, but also as you start your day, it does matter what the weather is like, the temperatures for today are like, and so we do have Molen Kenyana joining us for yet another update in that direction. Good morning to you, Molen.
To you, all our viewers here.
What do you have for us today?
What I have is more of our viewers are trying to also send us this morning, and we have a picture of a beautiful sunrise there. And there is more. We want to look at prospects of how the weather is going to be looking like in the next 1 week plus a few days. On that, also looking at our forecast for this morning. Yes.
Molen Kenyana, as she continues, just remind you that Robert Kirabo will be hosting the conversation on Emyoga beneficiaries and how far the whole structure is to the last person in the grassroots, table of Uganda. But we will be having that conversation at 8 a.m. and then after that sports update, we'll be concluding Good Morning Uganda this morning with Ruben P. Machibilango.
Yes, thank you very much, Priscilla. Again, we are back to what I'm calling the image of the day today. Well, this is a picture of a sunrise coming in from Shadia in Bunamaya. Now, Shadia has really taken a very beautiful picture there. You can see the sun coming through, and also she is trying to shadow herself with her hand. That is a beautiful one there. And Shadia is a self-declared Musama. Well, you can also be a Musama and send us one of the pictures from your area with capturing the sunrise, and we will be streaming it right here. As for now, speaking of image of the day, we do have one that is coming in from Copernicus, Sentinel-1. Now, this is more on the earthquake that hit Haiti, that is in the Caribbean. Well, the satellite from Copernicus did get this information showing that there is deformation. The earthquake, the 7.2 magnitude earthquake, did cause ground deformation, and this was acquired from the satellite that was descending to Earth from 3rd to 15th of August, which is when also we had this earthquake in Haiti. Well, most of the ground that has been deformed is the area close to the epicenter. Also, areas of Lake Kaye have also had more damage, and this is where a lot of people have had to lose their property. Now, also, there is reports of over 1,000 casualties in this area as a result of this earthquake. Now, the ground, if you can see it from the satellite, there are lines that are showing some kind of deformation from here, and this is what the satellite is actually trying to show us, as that magnitude was really high, destroying the ground, causing it to actually be deformed. Now, most of the areas also within Haiti where also where this earthquake did take place had some damages, and that includes Miragwane. That area also had a lot of property being destroyed due to this earthquake. Well, that is the image of the day coming in from Copernicus and brought to us by Sentinel-1, or one of the satellites from Copernicus as well. Well, we want to take a look ahead into what we're expecting this week in terms of our weather, looking at the East African Hazard Watch coming in also from ICPAC, our regional center. Well, we're looking at mostly rainy conditions across the country. Well, that is actually starting from 17th of August until the 24th of August. What we're seeing here from the orange colors and the yellow colors is we do expect to have rains, most especially across central north, coming in two parts of central and central Equatorial basin, also for parts of midwestern Uganda. But that will be more on the first days, actually from 17th up to the 20th, but we do expect to have more rains as those continue. Now from the 20th to the 24th, we will have more rains developing. Now take a look at that green there within Gulu and Lira, also for parts of central. Now this is a weekly total rainfall forecast for Uganda. Where you see the green colors is where we expect more rainy conditions. I also have one on Mount Elgon Highlands. That is where we have Duda, Mbale. That area can also expect to have more rainy conditions. Also for Kasese here and part of southwestern Uganda, there is that green there. And talking about Kasese, as these rains continue, we continue to also give out an alert on the likelihood of these floodings continuing across this area. It is important that as authorities in that area, you should take note when these rains keep coming over that place. And you can look at our total forecast that we have. We do expect more rains across that area. Well, that is not just in Kasese, also for Midwestern, where we have Masindi. We do expect some considerable amounts of rainfall across that area up to the 24th of August. West Nile still also in the blue color. We do expect more rains, actually going up to beyond 50 millimeters of rainfall that is expected for that entire period. That is from the 17th up to the 24th of August. But take a look at Karamoja there. We do have a reduction in the forecast. That area will have reduced wet weather activities, but moving inwards into, as you head to eastern Uganda as well as northern parts of the country, especially the central north, we start to see rains will be picking up from the yellow color into the green, and that area is expected to have a little bit more rainfall compared to the extreme end of Karamoja. That is where we have Moroto, that is where we have Kabong. That area is going to be having reduced wet weather activities. Well, also around Lake Choga, we do have the green colors there. That area can expect to have more wet weather conditions across most areas. Now, looking at the western parts of Lake Victoria, where we have Masaka, we have Rengo here, we have Lyantonde, that area is likely to have reduced wet weather activities still within the orange colors there. But much of southwestern Barra there, we can see it in yellow colors, meaning that there will be light rains over a few areas, although not as much as the ones in the green color. Well, that is it from what we are looking at in terms of our weekly forecast coming in from the East Africa Regional Center for Climate, that is ICPAC. Well, today we also want to take a look at what is going on over our skies here in Uganda from our satellites. And I can tell you, we are seeing mostly clear skies. It's quite a good morning to start up with. Most areas are having sunny conditions now. That is kind of convenient if you have to move somewhere for work or for anything. That weather is actually good compared to if we had to deal with rains. Now, that is not everywhere. Parts of northwestern Uganda did have to deal with most of those rains, but the system really cleared very fast. We are still seeing cloudy conditions over that area, but earlier we did have rains across Arua, but that system has cleared towards the west, so you can expect at least a clearing trend as the day progresses. Now, more areas are starting to develop within clouds where you see the white colors. We do have Midwestern Uganda, Hoima, Masindi. That area is having mostly cloudy conditions, but with intervals of sunny conditions, and we do expect most rains to develop later as the day goes on. But for now, it is mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Now, our satellites are also showing us clear skies across eastern Uganda, and that is mostly sunny conditions over there. Also for central north, Gulu, Padel, as we speak, very sunny skies, and also across southwestern Uganda, Mbarara, Kabale, that area is having mostly sunny conditions as we speak right now. But also we do have intervals of cloudy conditions. Even for Kampala here, we are seeing mostly sunny skies. We will have those intervals of clouds, but most areas still, as we speak, are having sunny conditions over there. Well, we'll go ahead and take a look at our forecast for this morning, as most areas will be developing rainy conditions also, but most especially central Uganda today, we're having intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions this morning. Well, we start off with the Lake Victoria Basin, the central Lake Victoria Basin, where we have Kampala, Entebbe, Wakiso. We do have right now intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, but there is rain in the forecast. Those rains will be coming your way as the morning progresses, but also over a few areas, and temperatures are at a chilly 25 degrees Celsius. Looking at central northern Uganda, where we have Gulu, Kitgum and Padel, we are forecasting isolated showers, starting off with a warm morning at 27 degrees centigrade. That is where we have Adjumani as well in that category. Or eastern Uganda, we do have Soroti, Katakuya, Muri and Kumi. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, and the morning is expected to be at a pleasant 26 degrees centigrade. Now we're likely to have those sunny conditions continue into the afternoon over that area. or eastern Lake Victoria Basin, we are forecasting also a mix of clouds and sunshine. Right now dealing with mostly sunny skies, but we'll have those intervals of cloudy conditions coming in also at a beautiful 26 degrees centigrade. You can't complain. That is quite some pleasant weather. Well, looking at Mount Elgon Highlands, that is where we have Mbale, Bududa, Buko and Sironko. We're forecasting intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, starting off at a cold 25 degrees centigrade, but temperatures will be shooting high as the day progresses over that area. Looking at southwestern Uganda, where we have Mbarara, Bushenyi, Rubirizi, Ibanda, we do have Shema in that category. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, and starting off with temperatures at 26 degrees centigrade, quite similar to what we had yesterday morning over this same region. Well, the western part of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Masaka, we have Sembabule, Rakai and Kalisizo. We're forecasting rainy conditions. Those will be really light over a few places. It is a chance of 20% that area having rainfall, but temperatures will be at a cool 25 degrees centigrade over there, and most of those will clear as the day goes on. And also we do expect temperatures to rise as the day progresses. Well, that is all we have for you in terms of our weather forecast for this morning, but I can tell you most areas are looking clear for now, so I can easily say that it is a pleasant weather across the country. Well, we continue to have more of your engagement on the show. Continue to send us those sunrise pictures and also the weather in your area. If you cannot see the sun, it will be nice for you to have them over, and we will be streaming them here during our weather and nature segment. My name is Molin Kenyana. I will be leaving you with Kirabo with the agenda coming up, and later on we'll be having sports. We also do have Good Morning Uganda Extra with Jagenda Semakula, who will be here to take you through that also. And we are streaming live on YouTube. Remember, you can also catch us there. We are at UBC TV Uganda. Have a good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
It's no secret that ICT makes